Winspiration, the way to the essential. On UK Health Radio, Winspiration brings wisdom and information for an extraordinary future. Together, we can shape the world we want to live in. So let's get real and create the idea. Be extraordinary. Hello, welcome to another episode of Winspiration Radio. And I like to share again some ideas about how we all together can create an extraordinary future. It sounds always so sometimes really strange. What is an extraordinary future? What is that really? Out of the ordinary, not the real normal. Maybe something what we couldn't think about yet. And for sure, it is something positive. So what is positive? Something what you really like to welcome in your life. But how does it look like at the moment on the outside? More and more people are afraid about the future. Atomic wars and whatever, what all can happen. And if you look at the news, oh gosh, yeah, every evening or all over the day, they explain you what bad things happen on planet Earth. But is this all the truth? Well, maybe some of that is true because it happened, but the way that they explain it, well, that might be totally different. And there are books out there, there is science out there that says the paradox of progress is everything is getting better. But if everything is getting better on planet Earth, why don't we see that? Why do we feel, why you maybe also feel, oh shit, I learned this job is not there in the future. What will happen? What happens with my country? I'm born in Germany, and so if I see Germany, for me, it's going down. Where are we? Britain, the UK, was an empire. And now, what is really left about the beautiful car industry? A lot of things are gone. So, how can we be happy then? How can we look more with joy in the future? So, I hope this next 50 minutes here, I can give you good ideas, a different view that you can be happy and know what to do to create an extraordinary future. Did you ever see a young child? Because you just remember maybe even the days you were born and then a new day came and you went in a day, had no clue how the world functions. You didn't know anything, but maybe you find some photos of that time and you were smiling. Big eyes and were smiling. Why big eyes? Because we are so interested in getting information in. Did you ever see a child because it didn't know what will happen the next day? It goes directly in fear, is scared. When did you start to talk what will happen next day? Everything, the first days, the first weeks, the first months, and even the first years were new to you. You didn't know what was coming. And you were excited. Were you interested in seeing something and try to swallow it or at least take a bite and taste how it tastes? Did you do things, open up the teddy bear or build something or unbuild the car or whatever you had? We were curious. We had no clue really of danger. We just were loving. And at that time, when you experienced something or found something what was new for you, were there times when you were running to mommy or puppy or grandma says, hey, look here, what I found, what it is. I brought you this, I brought the frog, I brought this. Hey, and you were open to share what you like. No hesitation. And that is natural. That was known. So when we can really remember those times, and if you go back this time lane, when did you start not to share? When it's so normal and natural that we share what is exciting. And they look here. And then we stop. We may be hiding even things. Do you remember a time where you were maybe secretly reading something under the blanket in the bedroom when they told you to sleep? Why did you do it secretly? Were there other things you started to do secretly? Why? When did it start? Isn't it so that we come up with the idea to have this so-called privacy because I shared something, you shared something, and they ridiculed you, or they started to say, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to read. You should sleep. So this natural, this excitement to share, to be curious, and to be totally open comes when someone tells you that's not good, or better, if someone tells you you are not okay if you do that. And who was it? Isn't it true that mainly for kids, it's family members, so-called loved ones tell you you're not okay? And then you start to believe them. Then you start holding back. Then you start to do things secretly. Just recently, I had a discussion with someone, a little group. They said, I was just shopping and they didn't take cash. And I didn't have my card with me. I just wanted to pay cash. And they said, no, we don't accept cash anymore. So where's the world going if we don't have cash anymore? And someone said, yes, we need to have cash because that's the only weapon we have against the big banks. Okay, maybe. I was recently at the airport in Zurich, and I went to kiosk there and wanted to buy a kind of sandwich and a drink. And I was second to the cashier, and before me, in front of me, was a young lady. And I expected now she needs to pay what she bought, that she looks for cash or her card. But she didn't look in her purse. No, she was playing, at least that's what I thought, with her phone. But she didn't play with her phone. She just went to the right app, and then we're holding the phone to the machine and paid via the phone. So my first thought was, she is playing and not paying. But she was on the way to pay. But I didn't grow up with paying with a phone. I grew up with cash, later learned the card. And talking with this young lady, she thinks it's crazy to have cash. She thinks it's really old-fashioned. Why should I carry coins? Why should I look? How can I change? Do I have the right amount of bills and everything, that it's crazy. Oh, do I need to go somewhere to get cash? She thinks it's stupid. It's a wasted lifetime. And so there is someone who says, oh, we can't live without cash. And there's someone who says, how crazy. So it's not really what it is on the surface, cash or not cash. It is, first of all, how we grew up, what we learned. In this discussion about life is changing, we were also talking about, oh, you know, in China, they have everywhere the cameras and they watch whatever you do. And someone said, no, that would be awful if everything is controlled. I want my privacy. I grew up in Germany, and we are the kind of people, when we have house and garden, we like to make a fence around it. But when we drove to the Netherlands, and these people are so strange, they're not used to fence. They don't even close the windows, really. The glass is there, but no curtains. So you can look in the living room. And for me, as a German, that was strange. Everybody can see what I do. I grew up there. And if they go to Germany, say, what is with these crazy people? They're living like in a zoo, building a cage around that. So what is true? So if we understand that, like the kid, we started suddenly to asking for privacy because we're not allowed to read. So why is this for privacy? Yeah, then we come up with the idea, I have maybe my own room. And how was it in your life? For me, it took a long time that I got my own room. I grew up with a sister. The first 12 years, we had the same room. Then I got a so-called my room, but people could go through, the family could go through the room, 2 doors. And my dad was not used to knock. So when I was secretly reading or doing something or even reading things I shouldn't read, I had always stress. So then we come up with so-called privacy ideas. Can you please knock? Because then I have time enough to hide. So if we are not really afraid, and it is not really what people see we are doing, it is we fear consequences. So that's why it's so important, not just looking at why we're doing this or what is a privacy. No, I want, like it's free speech. I want to be capable, and it should be okay that I say what I believe and not be punished. That is our dream. So always, if we are ridiculed or something is forbidden, then comes the idea of the privacy. But there's another point why we challenge or have the fear. Because now it says we are what is forbidden. If things change, it's not like we had it before. We easily are afraid. But the other thing is our brain. Do you understand that our brain needs most energy? Most of the energy we have is used by the brain. And it needs a lot of energy to scan everything. Is there danger? Is there something? How do we survive? Do I need to learn something? Or is everything okay? And I can relax. So our brain loves patterns. If everything is easy, if everything is repeating each other, the same thing, this kind of routine, we understand everything. I don't need to learn everything. I don't need to prepare for change, at least from forced change. Then we don't use that much energy. And the moment we feel we need more energy because I don't know what the parents say, it's okay or not okay, you're not allowed to read or whatever it is, then I try to be protected because I know if I have the privacy, I'm safe. So it is not really about privacy or not privacy, if it's open or not. People know because today time, if we look at Facebook, Instagram, people share a lot of things. So much more we're sharing than 10, 20 years ago. And what we are all sharing. And they go in talk shows and everything on TV. There is so much, let's call it simple, openness we never had before. But the main difference is if we feel we are punished. And that is, we are not really afraid of change because we love if life gets better. We love to get a higher salary, increase that. We love to be invited for shopping, for dinners, for a trip and everything. If we know it will be better, we love the change. It is like the kid who was crawling around and looking for new things. And we would have never stopped if not someone came and says, stop doing this, stop doing this, stop that. If you're curious, you get punished. So if we know we will not be punished, then we are curious again. Because we're not really afraid of change, we are afraid of forced change. If someone forces us to change, if someone says, you are not okay, you need to be different, you are not allowed to do this, you need to do that, even if you don't want to. And that can be the parents, that can be a boss. It was always the king and Kaiser sending us to war, asking for taxes, and you behave, please, like this and that. So there comes a big problem. That's not really the free will. So we are afraid if we forced to change. And that is why a lot of adults at the moment afraid of the future, because the world is changing. Jobs are going away. Empire changes. First the UK, now down, then came America, and now it seems we have a big change in America, and China comes. What will be the reserve currency on planet Earth in the future? What will this be for change? How do we keep up and create a good living? What is this? But remember, our brain loves patterns. So it is really easy also when we know we're living now in a time where everything goes up, the economy goes up. So yeah, we change something. We buy a new car with us, maybe we move and have a different house and everything. But as long as it goes up, it is fun. And we were so privileged that we lived now, especially in the Western world, for 70 years in a period of peace. And the first long period for us in the Western world of economic growth. And so our brain loves patterns. Our brain loves it easy, and easily we go in the belief, well, it was yesterday like this, it was the day before yesterday like this, so that will be forever. And it's just an illusion. Nothing is forever. In the Bible, it says there are the 7 years, they're really the fatty years, and then there come years where you might be hungry. Nothing is well, no harvest. So the good and the bad times. We're talking all the time about it, but our brain can talk about it, allow to talk about it, but believing it will always be like this. If the lifespan of a human being is 70 years, 80 years, and this is in this, the 70 years, always the same, we believe the world is like that. But it isn't. It is an illusion. But an illusion we really love. The main thing in life is to not live in an illusion. But when we realize something is changing, we get the stress when we feel forced. Because when we feel forced to change, it is for us a feeling we need to be somehow against it. And this against, being against the change, being against whatever political thing is, the either whatever, always being against something, that stresses us. If we, not just against, but we are going for change, we want to have something better in life. Hey, let's look for a better house, a new house. Let's look for that. That is so much easier for us. So that we have less stress. And it's not the change. It is more what we expect on a deeper level with the change. So if we understand the patterns, that our brain is looking for patterns, if we have the understanding that it's not just simply it is, if we know the pattern of good years, bad years, good times, bad times, summer, winter, that always will be the change. We don't need to take it personally. And we can adjust our life. If I know after summer comes winter, yeah, maybe I need different clothes. But if I know it, I can have the fun to buy the new winter clothes. I even can have fun inventing new business ideas, creating something what people need in the winter. So every change is a super opportunity. And remember, the young child, the baby, it was always curious. How can it be? And the stress comes if patterns are changing and we are not prepared for change. Then we are shocked. Then we are frightened because our illusion is tested. And then we say, wow, no, we don't want that. Keep it. And then we are living very risky because we want then the whole world, the whole universe to be like our belief, like our world view. But it's never true what we see. It is what we made up. So, and when we are only 70, 80 years old, and if we look like the empires, or even if you go in nature, there are cycles which are longer. In the Bible, it says a 7-year cycle. But we know there are longer cycles. In the business world, we talk about quadrative cycles, or when I mentioned the empires, they always lasted longer than 7 years. But there are cycles out there in history you can follow if you look at it. They are longer than the lifespan of a normal human being. It can be 100 years. It can be even 200 years. The problem is if you believe only what you see is the truth and only what you saw is what really exists. But you see, when you grow up as a kid, there are people who are older. So maybe you believe, oh, okay, everybody will be one day old. But then you will learn also that sometimes someone is dying. Suddenly grandma is not there anymore. And then you see maybe when you're 10 or 20 or when other kids are born and they're younger than you. And it gives theoretically the chance to get a different understanding, learning from it and adjusting to it. But remember, our brain loves pattern and loves it easy. So we are normally, even there where we see change, we are not really translating it. Some people love astrology. And they go to someone and says, tell me about my future. But they're not really interested in what are the cycles, what is really changing, and that everything is changing. So they try to think linear and what will happen on this road. And then you're already in a problem. Because we don't have this. But I love this connection in this topic here to astrology, because when I talk about the different lengths about cycles, then the sun, every 24 hours she shows up. It takes 24 hours, and then we one day discover this pattern. We learn that the moon has another cycle, and it goes maybe 4 weeks. Yeah, we see him, then we don't see him, then we see half. And does it really affect us? Yeah, first of all, we start seeing patterns. We adjust our life to the 24-hour rhythm of sunshine. But we see also that the moon has power. If you just look at the ocean, the tides, if you see really the power circle. And most of us know that sometimes when you say, wow, here is something special coming, or that day, that time, then the moon is going in front of the sun, and for a moment, even if it's daytime, you can't see the sun. And then they tell you, though for years this exists, that comes. So much longer cycle, not 24 hours, not 4 weeks, even years. And if you look at the planet constellation, it can be decades. It can be really centuries. This can be 200 years and longer. There are patterns which are longer. And if we don't know them, we don't realize them. And when we don't realize them, we are staying, if the change comes, in a kind of fantasy. And, our brain loves it easy. If I discover, or let's say I discover something and then I call it pattern, I love to live in this pattern. But if I make it up at one time, then I should know that is not the truth. Like the moment when the moon is in front of the sun and you can't see the sun, and if this is the moment you just see it and then never would look up, maybe you get the belief there is no sun because the moon is always in front of the sun. So what is in you computer programmed? And that is what we love to keep for us and defend my beliefs. Because we easily go in the trap to think, my belief, I am that what I think. But we are not what we think, and we just have thoughts. We are just trained to believe in this and that. So if we would challenge us every day and says, okay, what did I learn today? What is different to what I thought is my pattern from yesterday? If I look at patterns, and those who see the patterns can really detach from the pattern. I am not the pattern. I see the rhythm of life, like summer, winter. If I see the rhythm of life, and if you want to be a farmer, it's really good to know I see the rhythm of life. A lot of things is good to know when it's good to plant, when it's good to harvest. So see this, and also in your age, when is it good? Like Buffett says, don't be stupid and save sex for the old life. Maybe the body, the hormones and everything are a different idea at that moment. But if you don't see that as a pattern, if you believe you are like that, maybe the sex drive is right in you and you don't see that you could control it and use it comfortably. So we see the patterns and we could make something out of it. And here I come back to the time we are in now, when we feel so much more or experience so much more fear around people in the Western world. Wow, where the future will go, what will happen? Ukraine, Russia, atomic war, China, crash of societies, democracy or dictatorship, blah, blah, blah. All those thoughts. But if you look at patterns and in life, then it's just a normal thing that one thing goes up and another thing goes down. Like we often say, one door closed, another goes open. Just see it as a rhythm of life and don't take all the cycles and rhythm of life personally. Don't take it personally when the sun is only there for maybe for you, say roughly 12 hours, and then you don't see her and she comes back. So every 24 hours you have the fun with her. So if you can detach from the pattern, if you see them, then you understand, and then you have the choice how you act and how you maybe even react to something, because it's not really classical victimhood reaction. It's okay, I need to react, change something. And then I think about it. What is, like, what better say, responding to it? What is planning for the news? Like if the summer is going okay, my reaction is maybe I dress different. Maybe I close the door, otherwise it goes too cold in the house. And what can I do? Whatever happens on the level of duality, it's never only bad. There must be something good. So what is the good now? How can I harvest the good? And you see it, it's not only the personal life where we can be blind, really blind to the patterns, to the changes, and be the victims. Those who see the patterns, then they can say, wow, it doesn't matter. Age in the passport is just it's just a number. Chronological age doesn't matter. My mental, my biological, and my curiosity age, that is so much more important. So if you really realize the patterns, and if you see that as a child, I could be happy with not knowing what will be tomorrow, why not living this again? And didn't say Jesus, you should come like a child again? Not childish, like a child. Be curious. Be happy, change, new. Don't accept the limiting beliefs. And that is a main problem, what you see in elderly people. They get more and more stubborn, or we say they get wise. Because the kid can adjust to everything new, but not understanding. If you understand all the patterns, and you know we're living in a universe where we have those changes, and you adjust to it, then comes the wisdom. And unfortunately, we're living at the moment in a time, if you, again, listen to the news, you're not taught about wisdom. You don't go to school where they teach you wisdom. Everybody is somehow try to see you as a cow, and can we milk you, not for the milk, but for the money, or please learn this, that we can use you by this, that we make a profit, and you behave like that. Who explains you that you are unique? And if you understand the patterns, if you're not falling in the brain-created, self-created patterns, that you always can change, that you can even remodel your brain, see the brain as a muscle. You can go in a normal gym, fitness, and train those muscles, but you train the muscles when you have a kind of resistance, not if everything is easy. Our brain loves it easy, loves a pattern, because we save energy. But we don't need really to save energy, because the universe is full of energy, and energy is flowing through us. So we have always enough energy. But we come from a time where it was suddenly important that we can run away, because whatever tiger comes and so on, it was so dangerous. We are so programmed on the survival of the art, survival of ourselves, that we needed always the change. That's the same also with the 7 years. We need to have enough food that we survive the winter. But all those times are nearly gone, because in winter the supermarket is open. Everything is there. Maybe you personally have not enough money, but in the world we have everything. We have enough food, we have enough money. Just a problem with the distribution system. But we are not really allowed to fall in the victim mode. We are just should go in creation when we live at the moment at a time. We're not really, the survival of the art is the main problem, because of the tigers and the danger from the nature. If there is danger for the survival of the art, it comes from ourselves, because we're still behaving like in old times and fighting each other and not really going in the creation. And you can see it, like I mentioned already, there are elderly people, they are fit in old age. And I know it's not so easy, because when I turned 60, I had a really tough time to adjust to the child who was curious again, because everybody was treating me, you're a pensioner now, you're a senior now, and everything. Nobody expected me to start something new. All my classmates, however, they were happy to retire, not to need to work anymore. They had no passion. They didn't know what they lived for. They was just working years and years for money to survive, to pay bills. But not really to survive. They're paying bills for things they often don't, or didn't really need, because they believe they need to do this and that. That's why I'm so kind of preaching of what is your purpose in life, what is your essence in life, that you know what you are. Are you a rose? Are you a walnut tree, a bush? What are you? And are you really living your true self? But if you're living your true self, nothing can frighten you really, because you always live in your true self. If something is changing at the outside, you adjust. And to learn as a human being, we can learn. We can move somewhere else. We can create different ideas. This way we have a big advantage compared to a tree where it might be fixed. And you see it in companies. Some companies, they adjust to the owner's way of living, thinking. So if the owner is stubborn on not learning and love his pattern, he treats the company the same, and he creates a pattern in the company. And if this pattern is not really more ready for competition in the world, another company comes and makes the old pattern obsolete. And that's always happening. Not only in Steve Jobs, and Elon Musk changes the world. They create new things. And this was always like this. Great Britain became strong, became an empire because of the invention of the steam machine. That is the most important thing. America was very fortunate with the big country and railroads through the country connected the country, and they could use it to creating a lot of wealth. And then other technologies came, and you see today Silicon Valley and all those stuff. It's dominating the technology, the world, at least the Western world so far. And now we see China decided we want to be better. We go now with artificial intelligence, all these digital things. We want to be world leader in this. And a lot of companies say, oh, no, we have success. Everything is fine. And I mentioned Steve Jobs again. When he came out with the iPhone, Nokia had nearly 50% market share in mobile phones. And they were laughing. This crazy guy with one phone, no buttons, how will he succeed? We have 30 models, different sizes. He never can compete with us. It took them, I guess, 6, maximum 9 months. Then they realized they lost it. And where's Nokia phones today? Company is gone. It can be so fast. As a German, I grew up with we are dominating the car industry, and then now comes Elon Musk building a gigafactory in Germany, has all the superpower chargers for us, dominating the really electric car industry. And he sold in 1 month already more cars than Volkswagen in Germany. So change is coming. You can't really avoid it. You can avoid maybe to adjust, but change is there and will always be there. But if we accept that we can see the patterns, and if we're interested in seeing the patterns, like I said, then we can adjust. We can see something more. Why it's, at least I was wondering for a long time, why is not one country, one empire there forever? They have the power. Why are they not forever? The question, why are empires not there forever, is the same. There are people who are living in the empire. They're building it. They build the success. And everything is easy. And here's one important sentence. Success is a big enemy. Because if you have too much success, you get lazy. High nose. Who can, like Nokia, who can compete with us? And they thought we don't need to change. But someone else had an idea and did it. And here's a very important thing we always need to know for us, for families, for companies, countries, or even continents. If you're in a bad situation as a country, hard times, really hard times. Hard times, you have a lot of victims, but you're creating also strong people. It's like in the gym. You need the hard time to build. And when the times are hard, strong people are there. What are the strong people doing? They creating solutions. They create something. And they create good times. Strong people create good times for themselves, for their family, for their company. And you see it if you, like I mentioned, Elon Musk, how strong he is. He can build more countries. And he doesn't care what other people are saying. He has his vision, and his vision is what he is going for. And he can have a tough life. He sleeps in the office and everything. And I saw him in Germany when he came to open up the Gigafactory close to Berlin, where there are really good luxury hotels. He slept in the Gigafactory. Even if you have enough money, the richest man or one of the richest men in the world is not going in the luxury hotel next door. He is going for building because he's still hungry. He is still strong. But in strong times, when everything is fine, the brain starts to be happy and lazy again. Good times create weak people. Thing that we don't need to do. Nokia has. That will work. And this is what I learned when I asked someone, I heard this about the Bible. There was Moses, and he negotiated and managed to get the slaves out of Egypt. Why was he 40 years running around in the desert? Okay, there were no GPS at that time. But that was not the reason. So someone, a wise man, explained me, he left Egypt with slaves. And with the slaves, he never, ever could win any war, run over these so-called beautiful Canaan. He needed to live a while in the desert in the hard times. And then when the generation came, who was really living for a while and creating new kids who really were born in the hard times, that created strong people. And those strong people, they could really go then and get Canaan. It's always the same. Though that we don't need this just for war, but we need to understand the pattern, that we can create something, that we need to be the strong. And that is a choice. It's a choice to go in the gym, and I want to be strong. If you see the patterns and you see now whatever is shifting in the world, the industry is shifting. Okay, this job is going away. Other jobs are coming. Now we just heard we get now not only just the CEOs, the COOs, CFO, we get now a chief officer for artificial intelligence. We never had it before. So always is there some change. And if you can adjust to it, see the patterns, adjust to it, you can always create a fortune. If you get the feeling I'm getting older and I'm getting weaker, you have the choice. From now on, I really take it serious and I go in the gym and make myself strong. I can really work, even in old age, for new brain cells, for new muscle cells. I decide how my body is really designed. I can shape myself, like Anthony Robbins always said. Or we have now Brian Johnson, who really measures everything and already with measuring says, okay, I reduced my age my really biological age, 5 to 6 years already. That's all possible. If you see the patterns, you're not the victim, you can choose. And then you understand that there is only one thing, and I like to read it here, just the law of perpetual transmutation. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy asserts that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Still, it changes one state to another. This means that energy in the universe is always transmuting into an outer form, into a company, out of the company, whatever, in the body, out of the body, in this continent or that kind, this empire, that empire. It's always changing. Things are always changing. Nix is fixed. So you can tap into this energy. It's your decision, and transform it into anything you do decide. In summer, you can decide what you do there. And if you accept summer is over, now is winter, you decide what you do in the energy in winter time. You can create. And as I said, paradox of progress is for a long, long, long time, for years, thousands of years, as we already measure everything, we can see everything becoming better and better. Everything comes better and better. Yeah, there are exceptions, someone dies or not, whatever. The whole thing is getting better and better. And that's why I love that you decide and understand. I agree, the best is yet to come. And what I try to explain to you with this, stay curious, be curious just now. Be like the child, curious, see the patterns, and love life, and love that it's changing, and enjoy the ride. And then you create what you want, and that can be an extraordinary life. This was another episode of Winspiration, Wisdom and Information to support you getting out of illusions, false identifications, limiting beliefs. We all have the power and potential to be more, do more, have more, give more. Reality is what is possible in the universe, and the best is yet to come. If you want to dive deeper into possibilities of creating the extraordinary future, go to winspiration.global or to wolfgangsonnenburg.com. More information and some free downloads like the email program Dream Goals Reality or a copy of the book The Best Is Yet to Come can be found on the UK Health Radio website under the Listen on Demand and Presenters section. Join us again next week on the Winspiration Show for more wisdom and information to create your extraordinary future.